listening to Pop This, the podcast where three women talk about pop culture. Here are your hosts, Lisa Christiansen, Andrea Gin, and Andrea Warner.
I got my hair cut. I finally did it.
Yes.
It's cut.
Very
it's
different.
the most. It's.
I love it.
It's the most different it's been probably in like 15 years.
Wait,
so that's a big
what
deal.
was it like 15 years ago?
Oh, I don't know. Like, I mean, okay, maybe it's the most different it's ever been. I don't really know. It's
I've
hard
seen
to say,
pictures of
but,
you.
like,
I don't think you've ever looked like this. This is all new. I make it sound like you got a pixie
No.
cut. You didn't get a
Yeah,
pixie
I know.
cut.
No.
I was like,
No.
It's still kind of long hair. It's just got it's of curls.
There's a lot of layers. It looks to me, I think, like I describe it, or I think of it as kind of a grown out mullet shag. Because
is that the wolf
so,
cut that I kept reading about?
I don't know. What's a wolf cut?
Isn't that what we're describing, I think, is the
maybe.
popular wolf cut?
I don't,
Whoa.
maybe. Like, I think of, like, because it's still quite long in the back, but in the back comes forward a little bit, but it's actually quite short up front. That's why it makes me think of like a shaggy mullet that's grown out. But I like it a lot, and it's got lots of layers, and it's like Kate, who cut the hair, cut it with like a razor cut.
Ah, yes.
So you know, that's a good time. And Kate's extremely popular as a hairstylist. Like, apparently wasn't taking new clients for a long time. I managed to sneak in there, but like I found out afterwards that a friend of mine was like, "Oh, I've been wanting to get my haircut with them for like forever. Is she taking new clients?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just booked it. Like, I don't have a magic. There was nothing magic about how I booked it, but who knows?" Anyway, all this to be said, it's very different. I do love it a lot. I've always just listened to my hair and done whatever like it wants to do when I get up in the morning. Like I don't do much to it. So I'm trying to figure out how to talk to my new hair, and like what it wants to do on any given day is kind of like a new surprise to me.
I don't know. I think it's just like a really spectacular, lovely, bouncy, different look for you. And I would think that you would feel like a rush of adrenaline every day when you wake up and look in the mirror, because you're like, I have a new haircut. I look awesome. That is that is one of the best like self-care things that can happen to you is you go in, get an awesome haircut, and every day for a week you're just feeling like, yeah.
Yeah, but I got an
This is
important
great.
question to ask. Though.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is it what you wanted? Because we often go in saying, I want to try something new, and then come out going, what was I thinking?
Well, here's the thing. Like I said, I wanted more layers and I wanted it to be curlier because it was getting too long. The curl was falling out because it wasn't like the layers got too long and it was dragging. So it does, you know, there's more curl. It's bouncing right back up. I think it's just because it's like, you know, it's a big change. It's a big change. So I really do love it. But there's like 15% of me that's like still just getting used to it. And I don't always like fall in love with new change right away. It takes me like a little bit to work into it. But I do love it. So
Yeah. And I mean, you haven't changed your hair in a really long time. So
I
think it's like,
I think we just established ever. So, yeah.
you have to get and you know, like to people listening, this is not a super dramatic change. Like it's still
I think it's
below
pretty-
your shoulders.
It's
And
different,
it's
though.
still, yeah, it's not,
yeah.
it's just got layers. I think it looks
It's definitely
awesome.
like last year, about a year ago, like officially, it was cut the shortest it had been cut in a long time, but there weren't a ton of layers that were put into it. Now there's like layers. So it's a very big difference than last year.
Does it feel lighter?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure.
When you're washing your hair in the shower, do you feel like something went wrong?
No. I just feel like I feel like, oh, I don't need as much shampoo and conditioner now, and which is nice, and that's, you know, and still takes a long time to dry because there's still quite a lot of hair there, but it's just figuring out like how how to keep it out of my face when I'm doing stuff. Because now curls tend to bounce into my face a bit more than it used to. And before, I could just tie it up with itself because it was long enough. I didn't even need like an elastic or anything. I could just like tie a knot in it and all of it was gone. That's no longer the case anymore.
But now you have, as Lisa mentioned, the wolf style, which is...
I didn't know there was...
I guess
never
I'm
heard
very
behind.
Did you look up wolf cut? You can see the pictures of it. Yours is not quite the mullet as much as it is, but it's a definite. I think you have a wolfish cut.
I think I have a curly wolf. That's what's happening. I do feel a little bit like if I let it get frizzier and didn't define and like put in a blunter bang, I could be like sort of, in the running for like Natasha Lyonne hair kind of thing, like or something like that. You know what I mean? Like,
well, seeing these wolf cuts, and I'll post a link in the show notes so people can see it, but it seems like a super on-trend haircut, and I can see like how if you go to a hairstylist on Main Street in a trendy salon, like wolf cut's what you're getting, because wolf cut's what lots of people on Main Street have.
Yeah.
Well, this is the other thing maybe that like is sort of I've never ever like my hair has just always been my hair. I've never had a style particularly. So this is also maybe a little bit new. Plus, I already have agreed to go back in 3.5 months.
Oh, I'm going to maintain this.
I normally cut my hair once a year, if that.
Oh, this is a big change.
This is a huge change, guys. We'll see. Will I keep it up? Who knows?
You're becoming another person right before our eyes or ears for everyone else.
Well, I mean, in front of your eyes to the listeners' ears. I mean, I have certainly heard.
Who would have thought, like, even yesterday, someone in our podcast would have a wolf cut? Not me.
No, you could have.
It's so on trend.
It is.
It's so on trend.
I think it speaks to the what's the word I'm looking for? We're bang on our pop culture ways here at Pop This.
Oh yeah, we're just always on trend.
Dancing on the knife of trends.
Sometimes ahead of the trend. Like this whole like a whole sort of like examining previous pop culture sort of like train wrecks and media appraisals, et cetera, et cetera. We've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
A little bit.
This is the first time someone's had a wolf cut, though. Let's just be honest. Andrea's right.
This is so... Well, I mean, I don't want to like brag, but I'm also getting another iron infusion in a couple days. So
is that going to be the next trend? Wow.
Yeah. The next trend is anemia.
Yes. Being awfully pale and looking a bit Nicole Kidman in Moulin Rouge has always been popular. A little consumption, but hold on.
When you go back for your next haircut in 3 months, are you going to do like whatever the hot trend is in 3 months? Or are you still going wolf cut?
I don't know, man, because I never knew that I signed up for wolf cut. So, and I guess it'll depend on like what's gonna be the new trend in 3 months. Because like I do not have the interest, patience, or time to do like a lot of like upkeep. Like that's the thing. Like I know this haircut could be styled lots of different ways technically, but I am never gonna do anything to it. Like I am going to get out of the shower, put in a leave-in conditioner, scrunch it, and go. I'm never going to do anything else. So I know that I'm not even going to live up to the full potential of all the different things that a curly wolf could do. But I mean, maybe I'll feel differently once I've got like a slightly higher level of iron inside me. I don't know.
Wednesday's a whole other day.
Whole other day.
Do you feel like you have to change your wardrobe to match your hair?
That is kind of a very funny question, and yet I did think the other day, like I was like, I don't know, I think I like might need like a spring look now. Anyway, so I've thought about it.
Do you feel like you'll need to learn some new slang to keep up with the other people in your wolf pack?
I mean, I honestly don't know that I have the capacity for a new wolf pack. Like, I feel like I'm I am barely keeping up with the random packs of people that I am friends with now. I don't know. I know there's no such thing as a lone wolf, but I might have to like try and lone wolf it for a while with the haircut anyways. I don't think I can take on the responsibility of other people with this haircut.
It'd be weird.
Oh my
I think
goodness.
it's just
Can
me.
you imagine? Next time we just like see A-Dubs on the street, she's with like a group of other people that have the exact same Wolfpack haircut.
And every time you go
They
near
just-
them, they growl at you.
Honestly, like I should actually start doing that because my habit of smiling at strangers doesn't really pay off that often.
Just a good worked on my dog. I stay away.
I do need probably to be a little bit more, I don't know, battle ready. Just as like a, just as, you know, in my anemic condition, I could not
Take on
sustain
an
my
army?
own, I think, in a large scale brawl.
See,
And I
we
gotta
know the
say-
segue here, but
So,
everyone else
yeah,
is like, what
exactly.
in
We-
the world?
It's one of the things I was thinking about while I watched this movie was like,
What path would you choose?
I would be useless. And yet I know I would choose to be a fighter as opposed to be married to a random man that beats me. But I would definitely choose fighter. But like, I just don't think I would hope, honestly, I would hope that an unexplored talent for drumming would save me from. So I was like, some of the women in this movie are doing other jobs.
There had to
Than
be people cooking. There had to be, you
there's.
know,
I don't
people
think I
making
could
the
do that, but like,
costumes and everything.
maybe-
so
Yeah, like
Maybe I could
dyeing
keep
the
a beat.
fabrics. and
dyeing
stuff.
the fabrics.
oh, I
sewing
could
the
maybe dye
fabrics.
fabric. That could be maybe something. Alas, alack, lots of blood in this movie. All kinds of iron. We're gonna talk about a pretty incredible film. But first, I'm Andrea Warner,
I'm Lisa Christiansen.
I'm Andrea Gin.
and you're listening to Pop This. Today, Pop This, the Woman King edition. I would really like that to be.
I know. I would always want to have that as the title. Gosh, can't we always have the Woman King edition?
Yeah, this is I know that we've all been talking about this movie since like I think we heard it announced and I know that I really wanted to see it last fall cuz I like, you know, humble brag that I got to be at TIFF while this was premiering and I couldn't actually get to see it cuz there was too many things going on. And so then because I wasn't going into theaters at all like throughout the fall and winter, I was waiting until I could stream it at home, and now finally we can stream it at home. And I'm so mad I didn't see it last fall.
Mm-hmm. It's a big
Yeah.
screen movie. I feel bad
It
watching
is.
it at home.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah, like it needed the big like there's just like such epic battles and like also just the fashion and the performances and
The
sort of
cinematography.
Yeah,
Mhm.
like
But I think this leads us to what we have to start off with was because last week we mentioned this movie in our Oscars talk a little bit and
Yeah.
how it has no nominations. And now having seen the movie, it is such an oversight and
Yeah,
such an egregious
absolutely.
oversight that it doesn't have any nominations. Like it doesn't make any sense to me. I don't
I am
understand how this
furious.
happened.
I guess you
Yeah,
didn't make the
I'm-
right friends in Hollywood, and that's what happens to you.
yeah, like I mean, obviously, like a combination of sort of like who people were putting their social capital behind, as was sort of written about by Gina Prince Blythewood in her editorial for The Hollywood Reporter, and I know we talked a little bit about that like last week as well, but I was rereading it again in like the aftermath of this, like seeing it finally. Also, we're post Oscars, this is coming out post Oscars, but we are pre Oscars while we're recording it, so we don't know what won. But we know what's nominated, and just to really set the framework for this. This film, The Woman King, has 94% critic rating on Rotten Tomatoes, 99% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes.
And it was a box office success.
huge box office success. Nominations and awards from BAFTAs, African American Film Critics Association, Women Film Critics Circle, completely shut out by the Academy on every single level. And so one of the quotes from Gina, she writes, "The Woman King wasn't snubbed. A snub is if it missed out on a category or two. The film was not nominated for one single craft. Not one single extraordinary performance was recognized."
It's mind-boggling.
It is. Of all the movies that I've seen this year, Maverick got a nomination for Best Picture.
But how is it not in costumes, makeup, like everything?
Cinematography.
Oh, it's completely ridiculous. And so one of the things that she writes is like, quote, and this is really interesting to me because I think that this has happened to other people can really relate to this on lots of different levels. But she wrote, as I moved through the awards season, I was struck by Academy members who simply didn't want to see the film. People thought it was a compliment at some of our screenings to tell me that they had to be dragged there because they didn't think it was a film for them, or spoke of contemporaries who couldn't be convinced to come with them and being so surprised by how much they loved the film. To hear that over and over, it's tough to stomach. And that is...
Because, we're talking about a lot of things, but the other thing about this is it's a really great action film. If you're a fan of action movies, that's what you've got here.
Yeah. Yeah.
But also it has like a huge star. Viola Davis, like in so many huge movies, one of the biggest stars. And she's like, this must be the performance of her career, which has already been spectacular. But man, the stuff she pulls off in this film, like the action hero stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
And brings so much emotion to the performance too. She's like a hero, but she is a hero who is touchable, tangible, real in a way that like we don't, and it's not even just about like whether it's like a Marvel superhero or whatever, but like so rarely do we see, I think, like just a person so fully developed as a character. Mm-hmm. And I think like Viola Davis does like really, she did some extraordinary things. I know we're jumping all over the place. We haven't even talked about a few things, but I just wanted to like point out that like one of the reasons maybe that Viola Davis's performance is so incredible and a career best, but like a lot of people are saying, is that apparently she wrote an entire notebook's worth of backstory for her character, which led to rewrites of the screenplay. And then 2 days before they began shooting, Viola Davis flagged a major issue that came up in her own meditation on the character. The screenplay painted Naniska as a younger woman, but at the time, Davis was 56 and wanted to play the character as a 56-year-old. So Gina Prince Blythewood said, and why not? She's an aging warrior. She is at the time of life where you question everything. Is what I put my body through, my mind through, worth it? How can I have an impact on this kingdom? And it was ultimately a push for a change, and she wanted to use that. And that, honestly, the fact that Naniska is 56.
That makes the film.
It makes the film.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I we know that it's a combination of intersecting factors of racism and sexism and, anti-Blackness and all, like, just a lot of different factors that go into, like, why this movie did not get the attention it deserved from the Academy, which is, one of the reasons people are being asked to really think about, like, who is getting to vote in the Academy. Like, how can there be meaningful change?
Every year.
I know.
Asking the same question. Why were there no females nominated for directing? Like this movie. Why? It's every year, and then they say they'll do better, and they never do.
Yeah. And I think that the people, and especially the people who are, deeply impacted by this, both in their career and in their art form, are extremely fed up. Mm-hmm. And it sucks because they're not the ones who can make the change happen.
Yeah. And as much as like as happy as I am over some of the nominations, like Everything Everywhere, actors getting recognized, women talking, making it into Best Picture. Like this is definitely hanging over this whole Oscars. Like
Yeah.
this movie getting no nominations.
Yeah. So let's go back to the beginning. And just in case anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, if it's okay, I'll read the background here. The Woman King is a 2022 American historical action drama film about the Agoji, the all-female warrior unit that protected the West African kingdom of Dahomey during the 17th to 19th centuries. Set in the 1820s, the film stars Viola Davis as a general who trains the next generation of warriors to fight their enemies. It is directed by Gina Prince Blythewood and written by Dana Stevens, based on a story she wrote with Maria Bello. For any ER fans, yeah, that Maria Bello.
Yeah, that one really shocked me.
That will come back to that, but yeah, it's a wild fact. AG or Lisa, you want to read the synopsis?
Sure, I don't mind. The Woman King is the remarkable story of the Agoji, the all-female unit of warriors who protected the African kingdom of Dahomey in the 1800s with skills and a fierceness unlike anything the world has ever seen. Inspired by true events, The Woman King follows the emotionally epic journey of General Naniska, that's played by Viola Davis, as she trains the next generation of recruits and readies them for battle against an enemy determined to destroy their way of life. Some things are worth fighting for. And that's from Rotten Tomatoes.
Thank you. So, I know we've sort of already said that we all believe that this is an outrageous oversight and actually like extremely like sort of boneheaded mistake by the Academy to overlook this film. But otherwise, first impressions, please. Did you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it was this incredible, epic film that has so many layers to it. It's educational, it's entertaining, it's, a spectacle, a brilliant spectacle, and it's got everything you want a epic movie to have. It's a great story, and I was thoroughly engrossed for the entire thing. And I don't see how you wouldn't love this movie. Actually, it has something for everyone.
I agree, and I even, managed the 2 hours and 15 minutes.
I was going to ask, how did you feel at the time?
I did fine.
Great.
I didn't expect it to be quite as brutal as it was. It was
it was quite violent. Yeah,
pretty violent, and I, of course, having spent a lifetime watching very violent films, not as a rule, but just because that's what so many movies are. Just pointing that out. It sounds like I just.
Can you imagine if it was your choice? That was your
Lisa's bloodlust has no quenching.
Yeah, exactly. I like a death toll and I like it high. What do you got? So no, I just wasn't expecting, but I really enjoyed seeing the female warriors, and I enjoy having this frustrating idea that women can't fight. I mean, I really enjoyed that in Wakanda, in Black Panther, seeing the women warriors, and I just more of that, please.
Well, actually, like, super fun fact, but Black Panther featured a fictionalized version based on the Agoji.
Ah, I did not know that. Oh,
yeah, and
okay.
So wildly enough, so there's this great piece in the LA Times about the true story behind the Woman King, and it's by Sanaya Kelly, and she writes about how Black Panther sort of ended up kind of helping move the film forward, the Woman King forward, because it was so successful. This is a quote from Gina Prince Blythewood from the piece. Black Panther absolutely was a game changer. It shifted culture and proved something that I think we all knew, but that the industry didn't understand, which is the power of us as an audience.
Good point.
Yeah. And also just I really didn't know much about the Agoji at all. And I know that this isn't necessarily the most I wouldn't write my book report on the Agoji based on this film or anything, but just knowing the the fact that this is a factual group of women warriors who defended their home and defended their people for 200 years, like more than 200 years. I mean, that's an incredible, just an incredible sort of like absence in my own education of like what, huge sort of like movements and shifts in and sort of like the ways that women have held power and hold power and how that has changed over centuries and centuries and centuries. Like I mean, obviously there's tons of stuff I don't know, and I know that, but like I was just like, oh man, this feels like I should have been able to I should have known more. And I'm so glad that I did, because now I'm kind of obsessed. I can't wait to read more as well, and like hopefully read more Black scholars and Black writers about the Agoge, because that was the other thing that like Gina talked about when she started working on the movie. She also made contributions to the script, and she said the biggest eye-opener was how much misinformation there was about these women and this culture, given that so much of their history was written from the colonizer's point of view. So it was really about separating the texts that were from that point of view, which were so disparaging and disrespectful, from the truth. And of course, that makes so much sense to me. So really like, figuring out sort of the information that went in to inform the Woman King. Like, I feel like there's a great syllabus probably that exists out there that I can't wait to dig into.
Yeah. And I appreciate that it has like a nuanced portrait of like how colonialism impacted different nations. It's not a simple story. It's a very complex story, and I don't think most North Americans have like any understanding of how it worked, how it rolled out in different places, who was involved. And I feel like this movie kind of gives us a lot bigger picture of what it looked like.
Absolutely. Yeah. There are moments, one thing I was not prepared for in this movie, which I mean, maybe I should have been, but like, I didn't know that there would be like, so can we do spoilers, or do we want to throw like ruin things for people?
No,
I think you can. We'll tell people. We'll tell people. Speed up 30 seconds if you don't want to hear a spoiler.
Well, I mean, I don't know how long I'll talk about this, but speed up like at least 3 minutes. But the fact that it turns out that Naniska is mom to Nawi, and that whole storyline, and I mean the brutality of what Naniska went through, and just spending time in all of that, and the sort of like messy violence and complexity of it, but then also this like mother and daughter coming back together and finding each other in this way. Like, oh man, that was another level that I honestly just was not expecting in this film. And it really knocked me sideways. And it was also extremely beautifully acted. I really think Nawi, the performer, her name is... Oh,
she was incredible.
Yeah, her name is Thuso Mabetsu, and she's from South Africa. And it's like, she's fantastic. Like, her and Viola Davis together, what a powerful team.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm still I could cry. Okay, I'm gonna try not to. Anyway,
I would actually say like my one small thing that kind of was weighing on me when I was like watching this movie is that I loved the mother-daughter relationship, and I was really like rooting for that. I loved like even like the hero story of Naniska. Like I was there for that. But as soon as like the Malik enters the picture, I'm like,
yes,
please don't make this a romance.
Yeah.
Please don't make this a romance.
Oh yeah. Well,
I just really was like hope and like it's just a light storyline. I'm like fine with how it rolled out, but I was really worried about it as soon as he
Yeah,
entered the
me
picture.
too. When they met each other at the stream or whatever. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because they
I
made such a
too.
big point of saying, when you come here,
Yeah.
you are forsaking, you will not be married, you will not have children.
Yeah. I feel like the sort of like collision of duty and like how much you owe each other in that community, in that sisterhood, in that warrior bond, I guess. like I get it, I think on some levels. But I also felt like there was like a lot of sort of like hidden backstories happening between different people. And I actually like kind of, I mean, I could be totally wrong. Feel free to tell me that I'm absolutely wildly mistaken. But I felt like there was maybe like an unspoken thing happening a little bit between Izogi and Amenza. Like maybe there was a relationship going on sort of in the background. I know Amenza is like seen as Naniska's sort of best friend and right hand, etc. And that relationship is really beautifully developed. But I felt like there was like a tiny little something happening between Izogi and Amenza. And I also love the performances of Lashana Lynch and Sheila Atim. Can I say, I thought John Boyega did an amazing job. His King Gesso was sort of like appropriately, there was a tension there.
Mm-hmm.
But I also really loved the sort of slight laid back, I'm a multiply married man, but I still understand and appreciate that's a devastating backstory too. Like he talks about how horrible his brother was and his brother selling their mother. Like, oh my God. Like there's I mean, obviously we know that there is just like the slave trade is horrific and terrible and disgusting, and seeing it come down to sort of like this capitalist, where he makes the speech to the other to the Portuguese guy whose name I can't remember right now, and he's not important anyway, and says that like, I know you see us as nothing more than commodities. Like just like the moment of that conversation, and like I just think the performances in this film are so fantastic that like so like bear with me for this comparison, but how Dame Judi Dench can get nominated for 8 minutes as Queen Victoria in whatever that was a million years ago, but nobody in this film gets nominated for equally brilliant performances, even if they're not like, even if like they, add up to like 7 minutes of screen time, which they don't. John Boyega gets like at least 15 in total minutes. Like it's awful. And I hope the Academy changes everything extremely soon. Now.
Yeah.
Or honestly, like I guess like we all boycott the Academy. That's like a solution.
Yeah.
I know we don't personally have that much power, but like if we all join together.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe.
Well, the ratings are going down every year, so
that's true.
Some people are not watching, so.
Well, every time they feel the ratings suffering, they add a few more Best Picture nominees. So maybe it'll be 15, and then we'll see more inclusivity.
The Ringer published an interesting article today about suggestions for how they could improve the broadcast to make it more pleasing to everybody. And they actually suggested making, like, the key problem is that you never know what is happening when. And we live in a world when people want to tune in to hear something that they're interested in. And so they're saying that, like, expand the broadcast, but make it distinct. Like these categories, the minor category, well, like minor, but like the sort of categories that don't get on TV, say, are in a first like 3-hour block that's televised, and you list what's being given out, and people can tune in or not. And it's played in the, like, it starts in the afternoon. Like they want to start the broadcast earlier.
This is quite controversial because I've got to say, as a frequent Academy Award winner. Oh, what am I saying? As a frequent Academy Award viewer, I know exactly when the awards are coming up. I know the order.
Well, okay, just listen
They
to
do
the
the
rest of
same
it.
order every time.
But then they split the acting awards. Like the supporting
Yeah,
ones
exactly,
are
is
really early in the
first.
broadcast.
Yeah.
And the other acting awards are at the end. And those are the things most people are interested in.
Yeah.
And then there's this huge abyss that you
That's
have
for
to
the people
wait.
with that's for people with the Oscar poll. Did you get best special effects?
But
Did you get best short film?
So they give all those awards out first in a 3-hour block. Then have like a halftime show like the Super Bowl where
Ooh, I like that.
they perform all the songs and do the in memoriam section. That takes an hour. And then the last 2 hours of the show are the big acting awards and have different hosts for the different sections.
Interesting.
And so like people who just want to see the major awards just tune in for the last 2 hours. Lisa's tune in from 5:30 to 10:30 and see the entire thing.
That's right. It's
Like,
part of how it's done.
You can have that option, and you can see all the awards that normally aren't televised too. Like, just make it bigger, but tell everybody like exactly what is happening at what time.
I mean, it's an idea. Like it's an interesting idea. I really like the idea of a halftime show where all the songs get played back to back to back, like a mini concert, and then you close with a devastating in memoriam segment.
Yeah.
Like, I guess from this is where I'm gonna get really dorky, but from like a production coordinator, live event producer standpoint, trying to film all of that while a bunch of seat fillers rush in to take up the audience space.
They suggest that the halftime show happens on a different location.
This isn't even the Academy Awards anymore. This is a whole other show.
No, the awards are all happening in the theater, but they just go out to the halftime show, like somewhere else, so that it's contained production.
A second location seems, in the same way that, I don't know if you guys are watching Poker Face, but in the same way that Charlie Cale has a stern rule that does not do a second location, I don't think that we can get away with the Academy Awards doing a second location.
Wow, I don't know. It's so controversial what you're bringing up.
Lisa's so mad. I love it so mad.
I am such a traditionalist. I know how it works. You suffer through. That's how it goes. Once a year, you suffer through for 4 hours. I watch the red carpet. I watch any kind of pregame show. This is my Super Bowl, and I watch the Super Bowl. So I'm like, no, it doesn't. It needs more inclusivity in the categories, but the show's just fine.
I mean, I would say arguably a lot of people do not think the show is just fine, but I respect that you love it. I will say that you have used the word. You've used the word "suffer through" though to describe.
Yes, and I meant
the endurance. Yes, I know, and that's what I'm just gonna say. Like, it could be an experience, possibly with a little bit of tailoring. I'm not saying to do the Ringers overhaul, but with a compromise somewhere, it could be a show that's even pleasant to watch.
It's not about what
I'll go so far. Interesting.
It's not about pleasant or interesting. It is about a certain tradition that happens every year. And you sit down and if you don't like it, then you don't watch it.
But I think that's the problem. The Oscars is hemorrhaging viewers. It's going down every year.
Well, you know what? That's sad. It's sad that people can't just take time out of their busy schedules for 3.5 hours or 4, whatever it takes.
How dare they be unwilling
to
suffer?
Show every year.
They just want to look up the winners online after it happens.
Well, it's called PVR, and people can do it, and you can skip through everything you want, which they do.
I gotta say, one of the things that bothered me last year, and this is as someone who I don't have cable, so I acknowledge that I'm part of the problem. But I did watch it last year, logging into the CTV app or however it was being viewed. I can't remember. And then because it was running so long, I got the stream ended, and I couldn't get back into it because they hadn't figured out what to do if the stream went long.
Yeah.
I was displeased with that.
I set up to record for 4 full hours. That's what you do.
Yeah, but I don't have cable, so I can't record anything.
I already have cable for award shows. That's the only reason I keep it.
Wow.
I love
okay.
this. This is a new level of discord on this podcast.
You've had the SAGs, you've had the Golden Globes, we've got a lot of award shows. Got the ESPYs, which I watch every year. So it is.
I actually forgot about that, but yeah, I do know you watched it. That's right. I totally. Can we just like
Go get back to the movie at
I
hand?
just want to talk about the movie for another minute or so. I just want to go back to so Maria Bello, who has done a lot of things. I shouldn't say she was just on ER. She's done lots of things. She's actor, writer, etc. But it's kind of a weird origin story for this film. According to Wikipedia, in 2015, Bello went to the West African nation of Benin to learn the history of the Agoji, and then she was convinced she had found a story worth telling, went back to Los Angeles, recruited a producer, Kathy Schulman, who is then the head of this organization called Women in Film, to help her make the film. And on September 19th, 2015, Maria Bello used a moment when she was presenting Viola Davis with an award at the Skirt Ball Cultural Center in Los Angeles to pitch her idea for the movie in front of the crowd, who cheered at the notion of seeing Davis in the lead role.
Wow.
That takes guts.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a very ill-advised way to, unless maybe she knows Viola Davis really well, I don't know. Viola Davis did end up becoming a producer on the film, but I was just like, holy crap. Like that is very screwed up to like pitch this movie about like the Agoji to Viola Davis in front of a room full of people as you present her an award.
It's bold. It's very bold. I've got to say.
It is. And I feel like, I don't know, like you hear about a lot of these like kind of desperate attempts to get scripts in front of people. And I think it's because like when you have I guess like, she had a vision where the only person that could play this role, understandably, now that we've seen the movie, is Viola Davis. And it must be nearly impossible to get a script in front of her because she probably has, I don't know, like dozens and dozens of scripts coming at her all the time. I don't know. Like I could see how...
Not many of us are going to be in that position, though, that we get a chance to do that. So
yeah.
I just like, everything in me is like, that is so cringe. And that is like very, very sort of presumptive, like white woman behavior. That's like not very cool. And I'm glad it worked out. I'm glad it all went well for everyone. But I was just like, there's something about it that really squicks me out and feels like it's, that's a weird foot to start off on, but I'm glad that it went well.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what was so on the stage, I guess we don't know what exactly was it, call my agent, or what was said?
I don't know. I didn't look up the exact pitch, but yeah, I mean, just the fact that like then a room full of people like are like, yeah, Viola, you should do this. Like,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
That's
like
a
creepy
lot.
Public proposals.
Yes. But yeah. But the power dynamic is so weird. And anyway, I'm again glad that it worked out. Well, I also think it's really great. So they originally approached Gina Prince Bythewood to write the script in 2016, and she was too busy working on other stuff. And she was like, but come back to me when the script is ready and we'll talk then. So then they went back to her in 2018. And she was like, okay, yes. And she like wanted to direct. So she joined the project in that capacity. And then she got to do her script changes as part of like the research and development portion. So her and Viola Davis both poured a lot into the script as well. So like ultimately it's credited to Dana Stevens and the story to Dana and Maria Bello and the story to Kathy and Maria Bello. But Gina and Viola Davis got to participate quite a lot in the actual craft of the script.
Yeah. You can tell, like, there's so many layers to this. It's so heavily researched.
Yeah.
It's, you can tell that years of writing and development went into the script.
It really did. And then it still took Black Panther being a huge global success to push it past the finish line.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is, wild, but it contributes to a lot of the stories about this film and Hollywood sort of like fumbling, and especially like the real power holders in Hollywood and their fumbling of like how the film has been received.
Yeah. But I mean, just imagine how much research went into this thing, like
huge.
The like costumes, like the movements, the types of, battle, like the battle styles the warriors had, and like what those battles would look like. Like
those battles were brutal.
It just takes it took an immense amount of research, I imagine.
I loved the costumes so much. Like, I'm not really normally much of like a battle dude. Like, that's not necessarily the genre of film I watch that much. But I loved the costumes. I loved their training costumes. I loved the sort of like chill clothes when they're being social. I loved the sort of various queens in their various outfits. Like, there is so like I again could never like ever, but what a great training costume.
I
like,
totally
incredible.
agree with you on that. I could not do it either. I would not survive it either.
I could and the amount of work that the actors all went through for their like physical training.
Oh yeah, and the dancing and it's quite extraordinary.
6 months of like just Viola Davis was already sort of an extraordinarily beautiful human being, and in this film she is like sort of body transformation into this like sculpted warrior. And I really love though that like even so, there's obviously like a size differential between a lot of the Agoji and the men that they're fighting in their enemies, basically. Not always the huge size differential, but like several times. But like the cleverness of their tactics and the way that they
flips
use
over the back and use
the way that they use their bodies in such interesting ways to like best the other fit. Like, it's great.
It made it totally believable without having to use like CGI or whatever. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think I know where we all stand, but does the Woman King pop?
Very much. Yes. Big pops.
Yes.
Pops. Yes.
It's
pops.
one of the best. You know what? The Oscars may not have honored this film, but we at Pop This will.
Yes, we will.
It's one of the best films
of
that
2022. I agree.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I completely agree. I love it. It pops. And man, I just it's an intense film. It's it's a fun film, it's an intense film, it's an emotional film. It like does all the things. And it's a journey over that 2 hours and 15 minutes, but it's like well worth the journey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agreed.
But yeah, oh my God. And I can't wait to see what Tuso Mbetsu does next. Like, she's so brilliant. She's just so good.
So good. Yeah.
Like, one minute she looks 14, the next minute she looks 25. She has age range and emotional, like, pivoting, heartbreaking, and also just like this fury. Like, she does it all, and she's incredible.
Yeah.
we also love to leave our episodes on other things we recommend. It's so nice when we recommend the thing that we've talked about. It's just what a nice time that is.
Yes, it is.
It doesn't happen all the time, but when it does,
We enjoy
I
it.
like it. I really like it. Lisa, would you like to go first?
Sure. I'm going to recommend a film I saw on Apple Plus, and it is called Sharper. And it is a psychological thriller. And I have to say that I really, really enjoyed it a lot. It just was released February 17th, and it's streaming now. I went into it just knowing that there was some buzz about it, but I didn't know anything. So I don't want to tell anyone what it's about. I just want you to go in cold, and I bet you'll have a really great time.
Honestly, I love a secret recommendation.
Yeah, just go in, just start watching, see what happens.
That's great. Thank you. AG, what about you?
So this isn't so much a thing, but it's more of like an announcement that this is happening. But VIF is doing a Studio Ghibli retrospective
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
from March 13th to the 25th. They're focusing on the years 1984 to 1999, the first dozen films of Studio Ghibli, basically. Interestingly, there's going to be 2 screenings of every film, one in the original Japanese with subtitles and one with English dubs. So you can choose to see either one. And I may just
We know
set
where
up
you'll
camp
be.
there for 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah. You're going to choose all the Japanese with subtitles, right?
Well, I mean, yeah, I
Some
do
of those-
prefer those.
Some of those English dubs I think are a little rough.
Yeah. But Kiki's Delivery Service is a little, like, the English dub is pretty funny. So-
It's true. You're right. You're right. All
but,
right. Fine. Fair enough.
Like, both things are good. But
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Fair enough.
But,
That sounds great.
yeah, and they're showing Grave of the Fireflies, which isn't available as one of the Netflix Studio Ghibli movies. So
Oh, cool.
here's your chance to see it. It's one of the best.
I am sad I will be out of town. Bummer. How dare you recommend something that's fun that's going on while I'm not here? I am going to recommend a friend of the podcast, Vivek Shreya. She has her new record coming out in May called Baby You're Projecting. And it's her debut on Mint Records, which is a Vancouver-based record label, a legendary little record label. And the song and the video are super fun. Its full title cannot be said on this podcast, lest we get an explicit tag. But its the song title for the first single is Good Luck, You're Blanked. It rhymes, friends. It rhymes. It is a great song. It is a short song. It's a great little music video. Vivek is living her best life, and I'm so thrilled for her. And I just can't wait until the record's out. So, but for now, everyone can listen to the single and go watch the music video on YouTube.
Excellent. I look
That's
forward
great.
to it.
Yeah.
Yay! So fun. Well, thank you everyone for listening. We didn't mention where you can watch The Woman King in
It's on
Canada.
Crave.
But yeah, streaming on Crave.
Yeah.
So if you have Crave, go to it. Otherwise, rent it. It's great. Highly recommend. I don't know. I'm guessing it's not in theaters anymore, but maybe there will be some occasion to have it sort of back in theaters because it would be really cool to see it in the big screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But you can hang out with us on Twitter, on Instagram, on Facebook. You could email us if you like at popthiscollective@gmail.com. And if you'd like to even more, rate us 5 stars on iTunes.
5 stars. 5 stars. Always
Also,
5 stars.
Just before we sign off, we are taking a bit of a break for the next 2
Oh,
weeks.
yeah. Sorry.
Yes.
And yes, as Andrea Warner will be away vacationing on the continent. I don't know how they say it.
Can you imagine? I'm literally going to the Mediterranean. That's absolutely
Yeah.
wild.
Yeah, with like a porter putting your suitcases on trains and stuff.
Well, we call Carlos, but yes.
I call him your companion, but perhaps you like husband.
I like companion, spouse, husband, all of it's good. All of it's good.
But we'll be bringing back some of our best of episodes as curated by Andrea Warner herself. So see her
Just a couple,
personal
and
picks.
you're gonna have one guest.
Yes, and then we'll be back with Stephen Schelling at the end of March.
But we don't know what's going
Yay!
to happen with Stephen, so that's exciting.
We never do.
No, we never do.
Thanks for that housekeeping, AG.
Excellent. Good. All right. Well, thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you.
Bye.